Okay, so thank you for the introduction and thank you for your coming. My name is Kyota Kuboki from JAIST in Japan. So I'd like to talk about estimating player strengths in games more accurately and with fewer matches. Okay. First, about the background. Recently, in the field of game, AI players have become stronger than human professionals, such as AlphaGo for Go and AlphaStar for StarCraft 2. Therefore, some studies aim to use AI to entertain and teach human players. For example, some researchers try to do strength adjustment for AI player as human player opponent. Some other researchers try to make AI play like humans. But knowing players' strengths is crucial for these applications. In other words, Okay. In other words, weak and strong players should be treated differently. The question is, how can we assess players' strengths? Okay. In various competitive games, well-known rating systems such as ELO and Gurico2 have been widely used to estimate players' strengths. In such rating systems, when players compete, the winning player's rating increases and losing player's rating decreases based on the match outcome. A common use for these ratings is in matchmaking. This because many players wish to compete against opponents of similar strengths. While these ratings are used in many online games, they have a problem. That is, new players tend to be underestimated for a while. This graph plots the rating trends of players as an image. It takes nearly 100 matches for rating to stabilize, and before that, players are generally underestimated. This means new players are forced to compete against opponents of varying strengths. This can lead to a decline in players' motivation. To address such issue, it is desirable to accurately estimate strengths with as few matches as possible. For strength estimation with fewer matches, recent study by Chen et al. Introduced the strength score estimator. This estimator determines the strength score for a given game, state, and move. In this presentation, we will call this strength score as S-score. In their experiments, they achieved over 70% accuracy in predicting strength within 10 matches in Go and 20 matches in chess. While this previous study achieved remarkable results, we identified areas for improvement. Specifically, a player's overall strength is usually influenced by multiple factors, and these factors may not be adequately captured by a single S-score. For example, in Go and chess, abilities such as sense, that is maintaining good shape in Go or controlling the center in chess, and accurately reading, that is accurately reading sequences of moves, may be evaluated differently. Therefore, we consider it beneficial to also refer to these two abilities. First, for evaluating sense, we employ multiple likeness evaluators. These evaluators are trained on a large amount of human matches. For example, consider a 1D likeness evaluator. We input a state to obtain the selection probability distribution of moves for 1D human players in that state. By utilizing this model, we can evaluate how players of a specific rank make intuitive judgments. In this presentation, we will call each selection probability as prior and the probability distribution as policy. Next, for evaluating leading, we employ a leading accuracy evaluator. This evaluator consists of a state evaluator. We input state move pair to obtain the value such as win rate of the state before and after the move. Then we can obtain the difference between these values, namely loss. By utilizing this loss, we can evaluate how disadvantageous the player's moves were. Here is an overview of proposed methods. We propose to create meta models that integrate various models. In meta models, we utilize the S-score estimator from previous study and two other models. For sense, multiple rank likeness evaluators, and for accurate leading accuracy evaluator. We extract features for each state move pair to obtain outputs from each model. Then, we input the average of these features from multiple matches into the meta model to obtain player rank. In order to verify the effectiveness of the proposed method with few matches, we conducted experiments. First, let's talk about used game records. We selected Go and chess as the target and used the same date set and similar selection criteria as Chen et al. For Go, we divided game record into 11 groups from group 0 to group 10. The larger the group number, the stronger the group. For each group, we collected 5,000 games for training and 900 games for testing. For chess, we divided game record into 8 groups from group 0 to group 7. For each group, we collected 13,000 games for training and 1,200 games for testing. Next, about how to evaluate the meta model. Here we show the evaluation process. For example, when using data from 3 matches, we select 3 matches from the same rank group and input them into the meta model and output the estimated rank. We repeated this process multiple times for each group and calculated the accuracy of the estimated ranks. From here, I'll talk about the experimental results. This slide shows the comparison results of Chen et al.'s methods in our experimental setting. The y-axis is the number of used matches, and y-axis is accuracy. Our method outperformed Chen et al.'s method in all cases. For example, with 20 matches, our method achieved accuracy of 91.7% in Go and 88.2% in chess. And our method surpassed chain network's method by 8 to 10% in most cases. Additionally, we use the metric renamed accuracy plus minus 1. Accuracy plus minus 1 treats predictions of groups adjacent to the correct group as correct. The y-axis is the same as before, and the y-axis is accuracy plus minus 1. Even with only one matches, our method achieved accuracy plus minus 1 of 81.4% in Go and 79.8% in chess. And our methods outperformed chain network's method in almost all cases. Furthermore, we conducted aberration studies to investigate how accuracy was affected by S-scores, priors, and losses. These slides show the aberration results when using 20 matches from both Go and chess. From left to right in figures, it shows the accuracy when using all features, only S-scores are excluded, only priors are excluded, and only losses are excluded. When S-scores or priors were excluded, the accuracy dropped drastically in both Go and chess. In contrast, removing the losses had a minor effect, with accuracy remaining almost the same or a slight decrease. The results suggested that S-scores and priors contributed significantly to accurate rank estimation. We found that multiple priors are effective for strength estimation, so we analyzed the reason. This figure plots the geometric mean of prior in chess with group 4 likeness. We obtained the geometric mean of prior for each game and plotted the average value for each group. When focusing on a curve, we can calculate the slopes between adjacent groups. A steeper slope suggests that rank likeness prior better separates the two groups. For example, when focusing on the plot from group 0 to group 3, we can see that group 4 likeness prior clearly separated groups. Therefore, by looking at group 4 likeness prior, it is easy to distinguish which group from group 0 to group 3 players belong. However, when focusing on the plot from group 4 to group 7, we can see that group 4 likeness prior is not so different. In other words, by looking only at group 4 likeness prior, it is difficult to distinguish which group players belong. So, in order to distinguish the stronger groups, we took the weaker group 1 likeness prior. When focusing on the plot from group 4 to group 7, we can see that the group 1 likeness prior clearly separated groups. And this shows group 1 likeness prior is more effective for distinguishing strong players. However, this does not mean that it is sufficient to look only at group 1 likeness prior. This prior is not so different in weaker groups. Therefore, it is effective to use multiple priors to distinguish all ranks. Here is the conclusion. We propose the meta models that combines S-scores, multiple players, and losses. Experiments on Go and chess show that our method achieved an accuracy of 91.7% in Go and 88.2% in chess when given 20 matches, and outperformed state-of-the-art method by 8 to 10%. Our method can be applied more accurate initial rank in online matchmaking systems and automatically adjustments of AI player level. So here are my email and GitHub URL. So we plan to create a website that evaluates strengths of uploaded game records. And we also research teaching on game records. So we plan to create something to generate teaching comments on uploaded game records. If anyone is interested, let's talk to me. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Sort of a method thing that might be a bit. So throughout the talk, I was wondering, do you think you could do this inside a single match? Say that something like Go, to actually begin to predict their skills from say 100 to 15.
Yeah.
Do you think that information is there? Like I've never really played a game like that at a high level. Do you think it would be possible?
Only one matches?
Yeah, like you can start what each of the things. Have the game plan.
I think only one match is it now a little bit difficult because the game record match content is vary each matches, so maybe to be difficult. Oh, sorry. Okay, here. Yes. Sorry. Sorry. Oh, maybe right. Yeah. Haberman. Sorry. Sorry, I can't answer your question now. So let's talk about in coffee break. Sorry. Yes.
One thing I'm curious about is if you've encountered any situations where like it might be less accurate than other times. And I'm wondering, like, maybe are there situations where certain strategies are harder, like accurately define like the strength of the player?
Yeah, exactly. My method is maybe a turn-based competitive game. So maybe a real-time strategy is maybe to be difficult to apply my methods. Yeah. Yeah, so thank you. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay. Watching about high level about high level players, human high level players can evaluate. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Okay.